What is time? This question already haunted Plato and Aristotle. It is still there today. Where is the time? The past no longer exists, the present vanishes as soon as occurring, the future does not yet exist. Men have always counted the days, the months, the years. Time seems associated with numbers. In the Timaeus, Plato makes time an image of eternity. This image progresses according to the law of numbers, we call it time. Plato's time therefore has no material reality. Plato's time is a concept of the mind. Aristotle's time is the number of movement, the anterior-posterior is in the movement, and is countable, constitutes time. Time is related to movement. Time is thus projected into material reality. For Aristotle, time exists physically. For Descartes, the duration of each thing is a mode or a way in which we consider this thing as it continues to be. Descartes' time is a concept of the mind. Leibniz will repeat it and Kant will insist later. Time is a transcendental concept which allows the mind to apprehend movement. But the materialistic tsunami has overwhelmed human thought. Influenced by the deep materialism of Locke, Newton places time in material reality. Time is measured as duration in the movement of bodies. The transition from time, a concept of the mind, to a physical reality has pushed philosophers into the psychological time. This was the origin of existentialism and its temporal phenomenology. Heidegger went so far as to propose a time existence. He was thus opposed to Descartes' extension existence. If time had started at infinity, it would have taken an infinite time to reach our days. We would still be at the infinity of present time. If time had a beginning, an instant zero, how could we not wonder about what preceded this instant zero? Time is paradoxical. Scientists claim that there could be multiple instants. Two observers in different motion conditions would be in two different instants. Could an instant contain only part of the universe, another part being in another instant? How could the light pass from one part to another? How could we see the other part of the universe that would not be in the same instant? Each instant therefore contains the entire universe. But the two observers belong to the universe. How could they duplicate themselves and exist in two different instants? There is only one universe that carries us. There is only one instant. In antiquity, clepsydras with very low water flow gave the days and months. The sundials told the time. Nowadays, we count the number of occurrences of oscillations of a pendulum or an atom. Our mind gathers into a number all sorts of separate things that have no relation to time. Number therefore cannot be time by itself. Oscillations are movements of the pendulum and the atom. How would these movements weather? We of course think that a period of the oscillation represents a well-defined duration. We believe that the oscillation takes place over time. But we have just seen that only the instant exists. Time is bound to oscillation only by thought. I am convinced that time exists, but it cannot physically exist like matter. Time cannot be perceived by our senses. By giving time a speed, the special theory of relativity is not an error, but an unfathomable absurdity. Time measures speed. There is no time of time to calculate the speed of time. We imagine that time passes more or less quickly. This feeling is purely psychological. It is related to memory. We memorize images of moving things around us. Time seems very long to us if our mind is not occupied with reading, gaming or any other activity. We then memorize views of these things, close together. This proximity gives the thought of slowness, of stillness. Time is a concept. It belongs first to the transcendental world. Movement allows us to awaken the idea of time from childhood, but we can in no way say that the idea of time results from experience. No experience can demonstrate the infinite and continuous nature of time. From the infinity of time, past, present and future, we only perceive the instant that carries us. The past is only in the memory, ours and that of the things around us, shreds, debris, ruins. The future, meanwhile, is only in our imagination. Of course, it is inscribed in necessity, a causality that often escapes us. However, this future is not perceived objectively. Yet it seems that we are moving from instant to instant. The instants seem to follow one another. The instants would pass in succession. But, where could this flow occur? There would need to be a place for this flow. The allegory of the river is certainly the oldest. Heraclitus already, everything flows and one does not bathe twice in the same river. A place has a neighborhood. The instant is dramatically lonely. The river has a bed upstream. The river has a bed downstream. The instant has nothing but nothingness for its neighborhood, a past that has already disappeared and a future that is still absent. The instant would come from nothingness. The instant would go into nothingness. The instant before has gone into nothingness and the one after is still there. None of these past and future instants has an objective existence. The instant itself seems to disappear as soon as it arrives. So it wouldn't exist? But, the very idea of this evanescent instant comes from the idea that the instant would pass to the next. It is the very idea of time. We really want time to exist. Now, time is only a concept of our mind, a transcendental concept, that is to say, an indefinable concept. Time allows us to talk about movement. The instant is also a concept of the mind, but unlike time, it is there that carries us and the entire universe with its multiple movements. The instant itself has no movement. This absolute immobility imposes uniqueness. Time only exists as a concept of our mind and it allows us to apprehend movement. It is perfectly absurd to think that time can act on the movement of bodies. It is perfectly absurd to think that gravitation can result from the action of time on bodies. The theory of general relativity is the most unfathomable stupidity.